Hey friends, here's a real informal recording to kind of get you started on or an idea of what I'm planning for this mindful strength class. I hope you'll take a look and just see. We're stepping it up now, adding a little, adding some weights, resistance band. But I'm going to offer modifications and things for different levels. May even, if you don't like being on your knees or a lot of pressure on your wrists, you might have a chair available just to modify. You can also use the wall when we do planks and things. Doing planks at the wall is a really good option. But this is my basement, so if you do want to come in person, I do have weights, I have resistance bands, and I have space. Actually would create a little more space than you see here, but enough space for us to do this together. And yeah, thanks for motivating me in this new year to just kind of feel, I just, really feel the solidity of our form, just feeling our bones strong and supportive and our muscles. And it doesn't have to be huge or big, but we're doing some resistance to the gravity that's pulling downward. We're going to resist it a little bit and just kind of feel our tall posture. And yeah, so it's a little cold in my basement, so I have layers on, but I'll probably remove a few. So I hope you will get started with me here, and let me know if you have any questions. Okay? All right, so let's come to the mat in standing. All right, so we just get to give ourselves a chance to warm up a little bit. Right? Get these joints fluid and flowing and all that synovial fluid moving. And starting just in Tadasana, right? Mountain pose. Give yourself a moment to come into this posture of feet grounded, maybe hip width apart. And you'll notice I'm barefoot. And I really feel an essential part of our alignment is our feet, and strengthen our feet, strengthen our arches and the plantar fascia, and just helps to keep our knee joints, hip joints in good, healthy alignment when walking and doing other movements. So we're gonna, we'll pay attention to our feet and do a little bit with that. So finding a lift through your toes, maybe lift all 10 toes off the ground. And then if you can, see if you can spread them before you place them back down. Can you spread or create space between those toes? And then press each one down to the floor. Good. As you press down into the floor, then kind of feel the big toes hug or press down into the earth. I'm going to kind of show this with my hands, but as you pull back with your toes, your arches lift a little bit. So you feel the arches of your feet kind of engage and lift, right? And even you might feel for a moment as you press into those big toes and pull back, you might feel the muscles above your knees kind of activate and lift your kneecaps. So maybe do that a couple times, just lifting, spreading, toes pressing, pulling toes back, squeezing, lifting arches, lifting through your kneecaps. Yeah, right, already we're pulling away from that downward energy of gravity. Feeling that lift through your hip points, a little softness through your tailbone. Right? So we don't want to squeeze against that sacrum, but we want to have a little bit of angle, a little bit of ease around the sacrum. And coming up through the lower back into the back ribs. Just kind of play with your ribs a little bit and maybe find a central place for your ribs over your pelvis. Yeah, where is that? Noticing your arms, how are they hanging? Are your shoulders a little forward? Are they a little back? Just play with that a little bit. Just feel forward and back. And you notice when your shoulders, your upper arm bones, the humerus kind of pull back, can you feel the palms spin forward? And there's a little squeeze right between your shoulder blades, right, to do that. And then find a little central place, a neutral place. So you're not totally squeezing back and you're not rounded forward, but you're somewhere in between, right? Letting the arms hang. Taking a breath, little inner smile as you draw your chin lightly back, right? Maybe stick the chin forward again a moment, then lightly pull it back, lengthening up from behind the ears, right? And then maybe one more time just to see the difference, feel that difference when our head's forward, and then pull back, feel that length up behind the neck. Lifting through the crown, pressing down into our feet, rising through our spine. And then the tendency might be to kind of arch, feel it in the rib cage to pop out, and see if you can knit those lower ribs in a little bit, right? So we're going to start out with just this awareness of our posture. Right, so instead of an arch, we want to have lower ribs knit in, right? Take a moment to stand in your mountain. To press down into your feet and rise through your spine. Notice your skeleton, the bones, the support, strong and sturdy. Just take a few breaths and feel how these bones support us. Let's take a stretch overhead, breathing in. We're going to warm up a little bit more, rolling down through the spine, right? Finding each vertebrae, slowly rounding, bending knees as you come all the way down. Head hangs, arm hangs, and we're going to slowly roll back up. Take your time. Right, warming the spinal extensors, breathing in. And begin that roll down again. Tucking chin. Letting go of the shoulder blades so they slide. You can just let them go, let them drop towards the ears as you hang over. Bending knees a lot, especially at the beginning. And nice toe grip or hug on the floor as you roll up. And again, lifting through your kneecaps and then up through your spine, spinal extensors reaching. Nice deep breath. Let's float the arms down by our sides and step wide, or a little wider than your shoulders. And a little bit of play in the joints as you rock side to side. We're going to start some arm circles, right? So taking that right arm, reach it across, big circle around. Good, reaching across. So rotator cuff, head of the humerus. This can be a sensitive joint, so how big do you want to make it today, dear one? maybe we're just kind of taking it small and slow, right? Could be a little circle here. But where is it? Where can you what exploration of that joint that you're working with today? Right? Feeling around the space of the armpit, those intercostal muscles between the ribs, the back ribs. Let's switch, maybe go the other side. So, how big do you want this side? Right, take an inhale, reach. And exhale and circle. Good, paying a little more tender attention to these joints. Maybe it's a little smaller. Explore, right? Curiosity is mindful. Maybe it's a bent elbow. What feels good for you? Play around a little bit, circling those joints. You might alternate side to side. Good. And coming back, pausing here, feet come back in. Let's just start to kind of lift and lower. Right, let's warm up balls of the feet. Feels like a prancing kind of movement. Heel presses, bending at the toe mound. Right, really feeling the spread of the toes. Push into the earth. Let the arms swing. Good. Let's take a couple more of those. And pause. With your feet about hip width apart, and we'll take a nice stretch overhead, root down to rise. And exhale to bend. We'll come into like a little chair, or sometimes it's called swimmer's pose. So weight moves towards the back of our heels, right? A little tone to the abdomen, right? We want to support the back. We're not coming down here. We're just lightly, like we're about to sit into a chair. Come straight up, lift the toes, press the toes, sit back, push, rise, lift the toes, press the toes, sit back. Right, so you can do this a couple times. Lift, press, sit back. And maybe explore that any way you want, right? Maybe you want a little more work with your feet. You can even try a heel lift in that chair pose. Good, balance, starting to feel our balance here. Maybe lifting up onto the balls, sitting back, and a lift again. Good, lots of ways to play around with our balance, with our feet. Press. And lift. Good, maybe we're going to linger here. Why don't we pause? Maybe up on the balls of the feet. See if we can find a balance. Take a couple breaths. Let's see how your brain is searching for balance. Like, where is it? Good, and as you bend the knees and sit back, and you feel how gravity, the pull towards the earth happens. As you let the arms down. And pause and hold. Good, as you think about those upper arm bones, rolling back. Light draw back of the chin. We're going to work with a little better posture. Good, you starting to feel that in the legs? Little building. Good, just feeling those strong bones, that sensation of building. Can we tolerate that? Right? Maybe one more breath. Close your eyes, go in. Push against the ground and rise. Good. Let's take one last little warm up for head and neck. Let's take a few circles. Good. Neck muscles can be very tight these days, so take your time. Where do you notice it? Maybe pause, move a little slower, titrate. The inner ear to the outer shoulder. Good. And any other wiggles or stretches through the shoulders, the neck. Maybe take a moment to do whatever feels right. Could just be some back strokes. Maybe you just want to hang over and let the neck relax. Good, we'll get started. Get a little more strength going here. So now we're a little bit warm. So in a 2-minute interval, we're going to do these. I'm going to set my timer so we know how long. We're going to move into spinal balance. So coming into table, onto hands and knees. Pause, right? Stack your shoulders right over your wrists, your knees, under your hips. We're going to slide that left leg back. Press the heel back. Right arm reaches. Good, lengthening from toes, from our extended toe to our extended fingers, and reach. So maybe you're staying here. Maybe you're lifting. And little slow lifts and lowers, right? Can you find the back of the right shoulder, reaching for the back of the left hip? Right, some cross patterning there. Good, try it a few times. Good, we're going to lower down, switch to the other side. All right, we're going to come back to this. We're going to do like a circuit. So just exploring this left arm, right leg. And squeeze, release. Hugging the back muscles, back of the left shoulder, back of the right hip. And release. Good, that supporting arm, the hand is spread wide, fingertips press into the ground to support that shoulder joint. Back toes turn to face the ground. Good, we'll pause, take a little rest, child's pose. Notice your breath. Good. Make sure you aren't holding your breath. And we'll come into the next part of our circuit. As you pull forward from your child's pose, we're going to come onto the belly. All right, lower down. So we're going to work with some variations of plank today. So forearms on the ground, Spreading hands wide, starfish hands. 10 fingertips, pull back on the ground, and we're going to slowly start to peel the upper abdomen off the ground. And then slowly peel the lower abdomen off the ground as you lift thighs, coming into this modified plank. Hugging the elbows towards the knees. Right, take a few breaths. See if you can feel that elbows hugging towards knees, that front body connection. Good, dropping shoulder blades down the back. When you're ready to release, lowering the belly back down. And you can bring the forehead back down to the ground. Take a breath. Option to do that same type of plank. Slow peel off the ground. Or coming up, you can come into this variation on your hands, right, and knees. Good. Check in with your shoulder blades, right? We want to think of pulling them down the back, shoulder, hip joint, knee joint in one line, right? Pushing down into the earth. Good. One variation here for that. Right. And when you're ready to sit back slow. Right hip, sit bones towards your heels. Right, you might leave that crown dropped towards the ground. Taking a breath. Good. And coming forward. Let's go ahead and come on up. Right, so again, we're going to come back to these. It's a circuit. So we're going to reset to our next place. Actually still on hands and knees. So we're going to come into this side plank variation. So let's extend that right leg out. Left knee underneath. Left hand on the ground. And here's what we're going to play with. Right, we're going to play with arm circle, leg lift. Right, so here. Good. Can you feel the armpit kind of close in towards the hip? Right, shrinking that right waist. You might have a bent elbow, right, or a bent knee, right? You can change the lever length. Just do a little squeeze here, maybe a titration. Slow, slow, slow. And continuing, I'm going to check our time. Gotta get my timer going. Slow, slow, slow. And reach. Right. Good. We're going to switch to the other side. So walking around, exploring side waist, right? So let's explore these muscles in whatever way you like. Taking a reach and a lift and a circle, right? Maybe a squeeze and a release. And a little squeeze, armpit towards hip bone, right? We're shrinking this here. Right, maybe it's just holding here. Maybe it's just holding this position is enough. We're still strengthening underneath. Right, let's try that titration. Little lifts and little releases. Good, let's try that again. Does the side feel different? Sometimes one side feels stronger than the other. What do you notice? Good. All right. Do you feel that Feel that building sensation. Maybe pause. You feel warmer. And that warmth is that aliveness in you. Good. So let's move to our next place, which we are going to now stand and upward row. So you could use weights. I like this band. The band kind of gives this like stretchy, kind of syrupy, molasses-like movement to our strengthening. And when we do this, we're gonna step wide on the band. Again, you could have weights. You could do this with weights. I'm gonna use the band and kind of show you this nice place you can be. So we're gonna grab maybe about 6 inches above the feet. So about here. Gonna have soft knees. And then slowly, like reverse swan dive, pulling up on the bands, like we're using our glutes. And then return. So there's a lot of resistance in the band as I'm going up. So we'll come back down, and then you might adjust hands closer to feet so you get more resistance. And then slow, slow, slow. Oops. Almost too much resistance. And slow. And then resist, resist, resist on the way down. Good. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see this sideways as well. So it's not confusing. So again, extending the back, bending the knees. And it's like we're pull, pull, pull. Use your core. Use that abdominal wall. And then all the way to standing, we bring ourselves to Tadasana, mountain. And then back. Slow. Right? Let the titration of it, sense how the band is pulling you down, but don't let the band take you all the way. You're in control of it. And then pulling away, away, away. Toe hug on the floor, feet grounded. You might start to feel this in your glutes, low back, hamstrings, right? Good. We're going to go ahead and let go. You might hang for a minute here, or just a little bit. All right. Release your back. Take a few breaths. And coming all the way up. Let's come to Tadasana. Good. See what you feel. In the next part of our circuit, we're going to really, with weights, whatever weight you want to work with today. You could even do this without weights. Toe hug on the ground, lifting the toes, spreading the toes, hugging the floor, lifting through the kneecaps, rising through the spine, right? Inhale. You're going to sit back slow, right? Let the weights, feel how gravity is taking the weights down. Our hips are moving as our hips move back. Slow pull up, right? Push into the legs, slow rise. When you get back to Tadasana, slow bicep curl. Can you feel the resistance and how our muscles pull against the resistance? Push. Maybe take the weights overhead. Right? As far as your shoulders want to let those go. Maybe it's all the way. Slow, molasses-like. Can you feel the resistance? The weight wants to go down. Your muscles are pushing up. Letting your weights come back by your sides. Let's do that again. Little sit back. Push. Right, as you push the legs straight, bicep curl. Push overhead. Sit. How do your bones align to support your body? As you press the shoulder blades down the back to push overhead, make sure your palms are facing in, right? Lower back down. Good. I'm going to set those aside. We'll be back. Let's go ahead and take ourselves back down into child's pose. We're going to go back to repeat this sequence. And let's pull up. Hug the hands on the earth, fingertips spread, left leg reaches, right arm reaches, slow lifts. Good, we're doing just what we did before. Attuning to the upper hamstring, low glute area as we touch in. Good. How's that supporting arm? Hand, fingertips spread. Chin lightly drawn in and down. Lowering down. Pause. You might do a little rounding back. Stretching the back. And pulling back up. Other side. Little lifts. Good. If the shoulder's up by the ears, see if you can move your hand back a little bit. And really feel the push down or into the earth to resist the gravity. Okay, pushing down into the shin bone can help too, or top of the foot on the left. Good, you feeling that? Spin the back toes down. And release. Pause. Round the back. Take a breath. So those variations of plank we did, you can go back to that forearm plank. Or this variation as we pull forward, right? Bringing hips forward. You might, this time we're going to rock forward and back. Right? So you can pull into that modified plank. Hips move forward, push back. Right, so this might be challenging enough. If you want, you could step it up a little in moving into down dog. Right, pulling, lengthening forward. Hips drop. Exhaling back into down dog. Good, so lots of variations, right? Slow, slow. Push. Good, so we're going to explore this a little bit. So if you need pauses, go ahead and take them. Right, what do you need? Where's gravity pulling? And then can we titrate? Slow, slow, slow. Lift, lift. Good. We might take a moment to pause. Whew, feel that. Where do you feel that warm glow? Let that warm glow travel. It's good stuff. Good. Remember what's next? Let's go ahead and reset. And coming up, right, for our side plank. Oh, yeah, we're still on the ground. So a variation for that side plank could be at the chair, right? If you don't want to be on the knees, you could do that side plank here and still working with the side waist, like that squeeze. So I'm going to do it with the chair this time. Let's try that out. Remember, supporting hand, nice wide starfish hand. Good, press down, pull with the fingertips, create that grip. It's going to engage your shoulder. And then armpit towards hip bone, right? Little squeeze and release. Good. Are there any places that you don't feel connected to? Can you move a little slower? Right, maybe around one of the ribs or take a little time there. Find those side muscles. Toes face forward if possible. We're working that glute medius here. Pause. Right, take a break. Remember, that could be done on hands and knees or with the chair. Let's do the other side. Whew. All right, I'm going to face this direction. Same thing. Let's have our good, nice spread hand to support our shoulder. Rooting down, stacking the arm bones to provide that table leg. And then a little squeeze into the waist. Good. Squeeze into the waist. And the lengthening. Good. Maybe you want to lengthen more before you squeeze. And try not to let the head hang forward, but keep it an extension of the spine. Good. So lots of levels here. If for some reason you don't want to be on the hand at all, this one might be just a side leg lift. Right? You can use the chair. Good. And coming back to center. Ooh, let's take a little stretch, maybe a down dog, maybe a hang over the legs, and pause. And as you roll back up, now move on. So with our resistance band or with the weights, I'll show it with the weights this time, right? Our deadlift, it's called, or just really feeling that back body, right? Our back body. So stepping wide. So we did it with the band last time. We're just going to use the weights. So here, weights can come in front. Bend your knees. Belly pulls in lightly. Slow push into your feet. Toe hug on the floor. Right push to rise. Straight arms. Tall spine. Return. And maybe you want to take like 10, 20, I don't know how many breaths to feel the spinal extensors, the QL, the trapezius, all the way up the back. And then go back down. Travel down the spine, just feel the strength of those deep back muscles. Right? And down into the glute muscles, maybe bend the knees. Let's go back up. Forgot to start my timer. So let's just keep going. Try to keep the back nice and long. We're not rounding as we do this on this one. We're keeping the back straight. So you might not go to the floor, right? You might just come halfway down. Right, if it feels like, oh, I'm not going to get back up, don't go to the floor. Right, maybe it's just a couple inches forward till you feel those, what supports you in your back. Good, dear one, we're doing it. We're doing it, we're feeling these, we are strong. Let's go ahead and set those down for a moment. Pause and take a breath. And step your feet in. We're going to do some squat, the chair squat and bicep curl. Right, so let's go back to our feet. Our foundation, lift the toes, spread, press, hug, lift the kneecaps, mountain pose. Good. Begin to sit, right? Arms, weights take you towards the floor, just as low as you feel. You can support your back, your core, and come back up nice and slow. Push, lift, right? Beginning to curl. Push overhead. Maybe it's just a little, maybe it's a lot. Lower. Release. Sit slow. Rise. Still using those feet nice and strong. Bicep curl. Push. And sit. Good. So you can continue with that, right, a few more times if you like. Maybe there's little titrations, steps. Can you do this in little steps? And pause. Take a breath. Maybe wiggle around. We haven't really wiggled a lot, so if you need to, take a drink, wiggle a bit. Good. All right. So let's go ahead and come down onto the floor for this last part. Coming onto your back. Or actually, let's start just extending the legs, right? Feel that length and the draw of the toes back towards the shins, pressing backs of the knees down. And do a little core work here. So reaching forward. Slow. Rock back just behind the sit bones, right? See if you can keep the backs of the knees down, or even a little bend. You can hug the heels in towards the sit bones. Gives this tone to the back, or to the back of the legs, and then a reach, right? Breathing in, and a sit back. So they're like little pulses here. Let's go into that a little bit. Just drop your attention into your belly, your home space. You might go a little further if you're feeling like it. Come back up. A little further. Good. Flexing toes. Good. Hugging backs of legs. You might come all the way down. Whew. Maybe pause. Let's take a breath or two, letting your abdominal wall release. And relax. You might bend the knees, bring the feet flat. Just let your knees rock side to side. Good, just rolling over the sacrum, the glutes, dropping into inward rotation and external rotation. Good, we used these muscles. Let's see how they like to let go as well. I want to balance between strength and letting go. Right, that middle path. And you'll probably need a strap for this next part. So have a strap nearby. Unless you can reach your foot on your own without a strap. But we'll go ahead and come into Supta Padangusthasana. And taking that strap around the extended foot. Right. Good. Some of you might stretch that left leg out. You decide. Left arm out to the side. Here's when we lengthen and strengthen. A little more length here, so we're going to do a little pulsation. Just kind of a repetitive pull. See if you can maintain a little space behind your lumbar spine as you do this. Good, as you pull in, drop the shoulder blades down the back. So see if we can feel the shoulder blades flatten as the arms extend, or the left arm extends. And pressing back of the left leg down, we can open to the right. And then slide it back up. Good. Pressing the back of the pelvis into the floor. So just kind of some dynamic stretching to the side. Good. You might want to linger there and really press the foot into the strap. So we're lengthening the leg out of the hip joint, right? Extending in all directions from our joints, so from our shoulders and our hips. And taking a breath. We'll bring that leg back to center, switching sides. Right arm out to the side. And you could rock onto that left hip a little bit, right? Drop the femur and the upper leg bone across the belly and then rock it back. Right? You can try that out a couple times. See if you like that rock. Right. Maybe we pause with the leg across the body. Press through the heel. This one can be intense, right? And maybe bend the knee and then press, lengthen through the heel. Sit bone to heel bone. Try that out a couple times. This one gets into the piriformis, the glute medius, IT band, outer hip. Coming back to center, both hands on the strap. Good. As you press the lower belly down into the floor, you might lift your chest, shoulders, and head all from the core. So you're not using those neck muscles so much, if possible, right? Draw that leg in. Couple breaths. If you need to, you could always take your hand back, support your head a little bit, right? Keep pressing back ribs, low back ribs into the floor. Belly is strong. And then releasing back down. Good. Let go. Stretch that leg out. Rest for a moment. Good. Check in with yourself. Where do you feel alive in the body? Where is there space? Warmth, tingling, any of those things. Let's try the other foot when you're ready. Right, strap around that left foot. Right leg could be bent or straight. Let's hold it with the left hand, right arm out to the side. And you might point and flex a few times. We didn't do that on the other side, but it's a nice one to keep that plantar fascia nice and strong. Right, and then that gentle rocking, pulling in and out, straight up and down. Right, keeping the back of the pelvis grounded, some space behind the lumbar if possible. And may our hearts be open as you open that leg to the side, opening to ourselves, opening to our own experience and our bodies. Right, so you might hold there or do that rock back and forth, right, to center, midline, and out again. Good, back and forth. As we take that leg across, maybe switching hands. Left arm out to the side, leg crosses over the belly, the abdominal wall, and we rock a bit onto that right hip. and rock back. Good. The play of the pelvis with the spine. So this rotation, a bit of lower body rotation. And we don't want to torque the sacrum though, so we want to take the hip with us. We want to keep our hip, both sides of the pelvis working together as a unit, right? So we don't torque the sacrum. And then maybe pause and hold, extend, lengthen from sit bone to heel. Maybe there's a bend in the knee and a push through the heel. A couple times. Right, feel into that. How do you want to work with that? And bringing that leg back up to center, both hands reaching up. And lifting chest, shoulders, head, pressing the rib cage down. Right, as we hold for several breaths. Right, really, abdominal wall is holding us up. And releasing. Leg comes to the floor, stretching that leg out. Pause. See how your body's laying on the ground right now. Okay, can we let the upper arm bones relax back and down? Shoulder blades flat on the back or on the floor. Back ribs in contact with the floor. So we're not popping our lower ribs up, but we're bringing in the lower ribs. Little space behind our lumbar. Taking a few breaths. Bend the knees, come into Supta Baddha Konasana. Bound angle, so bottoms of the feet together, knees out to the side. We might bring the arms overhead, maybe hold the elbows. Get a little stretch for our side ribs, lats. Taking a few breaths. And maybe bring those knees back up gently. Crossing right ankle over left knee. Let's come into this reclined pigeon. So, some of us might just be working with that. That can be pretty intense, right? Maybe pressing that knee down. Maybe we reach through, thread the needle, do a little bind and hug that left upper leg bone towards the belly. And sliding the legs together, coming into cow face pose. We could reach in front of the shins and gently draw back. Right, deep outer hip again. And pause and breathe. And unwinding. Good. And a wiggle. And shift to the other side. for pigeon pose. Good. Crossing left ankle over right knee. So, yeah. So where do you want to be with this one? Maybe you thread the needle. Good. Again, we could think about a little bit of chin dropping, lengthening back of neck. We don't want it flat though. We want a little space behind the neck, but the chin should not be tilted back. So if it is, you might need a little pillow behind your head, right, to keep that in good alignment. Sliding the legs together, cow face pose, hug of the shins towards you. Unwinding. Good, feet to floor. One nice back bend, dear one, as we press our upper arm bones back towards the floor, bending the elbows. We get a little kickstand to press into our feet, rise through our hips, right? Coming into a back bend of our choice. Let's just pause. Good, little toe hug of the feet on the ground, giving equal stability to both legs and glute muscles. Another breath. Releasing arms, sliding legs out, and rest. Good, let's rest for however long you want. We did it. We felt the strength in this body. Maybe place your hand on your heart and your belly and feel your breath. Feel your strong bones. Feel your muscles under your hands. Take a few moments to let the breath settle into the belly. Checking in with how you feel. Any self-talk around your practice, around your workout today. Noticing your mind and your heart. Noticing your body and your breath. Your life. It's yours, your life to live right here. And thanks for coming and doing this workout with me today. Let's keep each other motivated. Namaste, my friends.